Your job feels important. You wake up early, rush through traffic, sit in meetings, answer emails, and hit your deadlines. You go home tired, believing that today mattered, that your work is building something meaningful. But here's the uncomfortable question most people never stop to ask. What if your job actually achieves nothing? At least not in the way you think it does. And what if the system was never designed for your work to matter long term? This isn't about blaming workers, and this is not about saying jobs are useless. This is about understanding how modern economic systems quietly shift value away from labor and towards systems, institutions, and financial structures that most people never see. And once you understand this, the frustration that millions of workers feel every single day suddenly makes perfect sense. In theory, jobs exist to create value. You trade your time and skills for money. Companies grow, society benefits, and everyone moves forward. But in reality, many modern jobs are designed less around creating actual value and more around maintaining systems, appearances, and short-term metrics. Entire roles exist just to manage other roles, to report on reports, or to optimize numbers that don't reflect any real outcomes. When you step back, it becomes clear why so many people feel exhausted yet unfulfilled, incredibly busy, yet completely replaceable. Think about it. How many meetings have you sat in that led absolutely nowhere? How many tasks were labeled urgent only to be completely forgotten a week later? How many performance goals were hit without anything meaningful actually changing? This isn't because workers are lazy or incompetent. It's because large systems are designed to prioritize predictability and control over real purpose and impact. Now, here's where the money comes in. Because while you are trading your time for income, the real financial gains are often happening somewhere else entirely. They're happening inside ownership structures, financial instruments, tax advantages, and institutional systems that don't depend on daily labor. Your wages grow slowly, if at all, while asset values, corporate profits, and financial leverage scale up rapidly. This means that even when productivity increases, workers rarely see the proportional benefits. This same dynamic exists in sectors like insurance and finance. Policies are sold to you as protection, but the profits are driven by complex probability models, exclusions, and massive scale, not by individual outcomes. Similarly, many jobs exist just to feed these systems that are optimized for risk management and cost control, not for human fulfillment or well. One common mistake people make is believing that hard work alone guarantees progress. Effort is important, of course, but effort inside a system that doesn't reward it proportionally just leads to burnout. To grow out, it's like running on a treadmill. You're putting in the work, but you're not actually going anywhere. Another mistake is assuming that job stability equals security. But in today's world, that kind of stability often means dependence. When your only source of income is tied directly to the time you work, any disruption, a layoff, an illness, a market shift becomes an immediate crisis. A third mistake is believing that titles equal importance. Many high-sounding roles exist primarily to support internal hierarchies and power structures, not to create any external value for customers or society. A fancy title can be a mask for a role with very little real-world impact. Here's how it actually works. Put simply, modern economies reward leverage, not just labor. Leverage can be capital, technology, ownership, or systems that operate without constant human input. Jobs keep the systems running, but it's the systems themselves that capture the upside. This is why companies invest so heavily in automation, software, and financial optimization, while wages for the people running those systems remain constrained. Historically, labor once had much stronger bargaining power because production required human effort at scale. You couldn't build a car or run a factory without a lot of people. Today, systems are designed to reduce dependence on individuals, making roles more interchangeable. This weakens your negotiating power, even as workloads and expectations increase. And this is why so many people feel like their work doesn't matter. Because emotionally, deep down, they sense the truth. Their daily effort isn't changing their long-term position in the game. And psychologically, that creates a deep sense of disengagement, resentment, and a kind of quiet, pervasive exhaustion. Now, this isn't a moral judgment. It's not a moral failure of workers. or their managers. It's a structural outcome of how our modern systems are designed, and the battle for resources, efficiency, scalability, and risk reduction almost always outperform meaning, creativity, and human satisfaction. The system is just doing what it was built to do. But jobs still matter. Society needs coordination, services, and organization. The problem is that the promise attached to jobs has changed. They're no longer the reliable vehicles for upward mobility that they once were on their own. Talking about this feels uncomfortable, almost taboo, because it challenges a core story we're all taught from childhood, that effort equals reward, that loyalty pays off, that success is a straight, linear path. But reality is far more uneven and complex. Think about that insurance parallel again. A policy looks simple on the surface, but it operates on incredibly complex risk calculations underneath. In the same way, jobs appear straightforward. You do work. You get paid while functioning within layered financial incentives that heavily favor institutions over individuals. The hidden trade you're making is your time for a degree of predictability. Workers give up flexibility, autonomy, and most of the financial upside in exchange for a steady income. And for many people today, that trade no longer delivers what it once promised. So why do people stay? Why put up with it? Because uncertainty feels far riskier than dissatisfaction. Because the systems we live in normalize this discomfort until it feels like the only option. And because leaving without understanding the bigger picture feels like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. But this isn't about creating fear. It's about building clarity. Understanding the system doesn't mean you have to reject work or become cynical. It means seeing it accurately for what it is, without the illusions we've been sold. This awareness explains so much. It explains why productivity continues to rise while wages stagnate. It explains why burnout is increasing despite all our technological progress. It explains why people feel so replaceable even in highly skilled roles, and why financial anxiety persists even among people with steady, full-time jobs. The simple truth is this: most jobs are designed to support systems, not to transform individual lives. Expecting them to do both is a recipe for disappointment. So, what happens when you finally realize your job probably achieves less than you were taught to believe? First, you stop personalizing systemic problems. You realize it's not your fault. You understand why your effort doesn't always equal the outcome you expect. And you finally see modern work for what it really is: a role you play within a much larger financial machine, not a personal verdict on your worth, your intelligence, or your potential. Your job is not a measure of your value. It is a role inside a system that is optimized for stability and scale. Once you understand that, frustration starts to turn into awareness. Confusion turns into clarity, and you can finally see the rules of the game you were never formally taught. And that awareness, that clarity alone, changes everything. Thanks for watching.